me work with you on the script for a couple months. And so they brought me into the process.
As the script took shape, so did the faces of Maverick's fellow actors. Val Kilmer, who played Tom Cruise's nemesis Iceman, was one of the few unwilling recruits, forced to do the part thanks to a clause in his studio contract.
It's Mr. Iceman to you.
Val Kilmer is notoriously a difficult guy, and was even then, But, it's probably the most successful part that he's ever played.
Many of the supporting actors, like Tim Robbins, were rising stars. A then unknown Meg Ryan signed on to play the wife of Anthony Edwards, the future ER actor who played Maverick's happy-go-lucky sidekick, Goose.
There's 2 O's in Goose, boys.
Everybody's got a huge amount at stake here. Anthony Edwards. Meg Ryan was 4 years away from making When Harry Met Sally. Kelly McGillis had made Witness and then had made nothing else. So all of these people are going to be big people, but they haven't become big people yet. So there's a lot riding on this for everyone.
We had, Kilmer and Anthony Edwards and Kelly McGillis and we had Tom Skerritt, and we had a great time making it.
In the summer of 1985, cast and crew reported for duty at Miramar Naval Air Base in San Diego, California. There, they mixed with the real Top Gun pilots at the U.S. Navy's elite air combat school.
There was fraternization between the pilots and the actors. There was kind of a competitive spirit between the two of them. There was a sense of, Hollywood lightweights. Let's see if, they can really handle the real deal.
On screen, most of the Top Gun pilots looked the part. But in reality, their first trips in F-14s were usually harrowing and intense experiences.
I mean, you can't breathe. You're like fighting for a breath for a minute or two.
All of a sudden, I'm just like thrown to the instrument panel, my helmet and everything, and I have to kind of push myself up, and my vision is like this.
Well, you don't know where you are. You're total vertigo. You don't know if you're over the ocean. You don't know where you are.
I'm really ready to almost, eject because I think we're going to crash.
Eject! I'm trying! Eject! Eject!
I mean, I emptied out like my whole. I puked my toenails into this bag.
The Navy insisted that a real Top Gun veteran, Pete Pettigrew, be brought in to ensure that the action was realistic. But still, errors crept through. The enemy pilot so memorably taunted by Tom Cruise is said to be flying a MiG-28, but no such plane exists, and neither, in reality, could the inverted showdown.
There are a lot of things that I didn't agree with that Jerry and Don said, no, we've got to do this because this is Hollywood. You tell us what reality is, but this isn't reality, this is Hollywood. And they always won and I always lost.
Tower, this is Ghost Rider requesting a flyby.
When the flyby was done at Miramar, nobody had ever buzzed the tower at Miramar. You just don't do that.
We could have gone through and it could have been a bloody, it could have been much more. We started out with a great, battle sequence, whereas we kept it ambiguous because we wanted the focus to be on the flying and the fantasy of flight.
The aerial scenes were only the beginning of the clashes between producers and veteran pilot Pete Pettigrew. The Navy advisor argued against the changing room scene where Iceman and Maverick square up, because real-life Top Gun pilots simply change their clothes after flying.
You're everyone's problem. That's because every time you go up in the air, you're unsafe. I don't like you because you're dangerous.
That's right. Ice, man. I am dangerous.
They said, well, do they take showers? And I said, no, they don't take showers. They just go to the bar. And they said, no, you don't understand. We have Tom Cruise, and we're paying $1 million for Tom Cruise. We've got to show some flesh.
Determined to reach a wide audience, the filmmakers made sure that every aerial dogfight was matched by a bicep battle on the ground.
You really have a hit movie if you don't appeal to one gender. You make it interesting to everybody. Action movie about fighter pilots. All right, you've got men.
Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer, you know, their shirt off, locker room scenes. Oh, you got some women interested now.
I mean, look at Tom. Hello. He's a very good-looking guy. Just all pure sex.
For many filmgoers, the bare-chested clashes were truly memorable.
You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips.
But it was Tom Cruise's croaking seduction of Kelly McGillis that would spawn karaoke imitations for years to come.
Well, I was thinking I wouldn't mind being McGillis for a second. She was kind of getting it from hottie guy. Tom Cruise is definitely cute.
I just remember that it was really hot. There were a lot of people, and I hated that song by the end of the day.
You've lost that love and feeling. Whoa, that love and feeling. You've lost that love and feeling. Now it's gone, gone, gone. Whoa, whoa,
Sit down.
But as shooting progressed, the studio expressed concerns over the scenes between Maverick and his leading lady. At almost 6 feet, Kelly McGillis was slightly taller than her male love interest.
Actually, Tom, Tony, and I didn't have a problem that the woman happened to be taller than the man, but other people did. I acted in my bare feet most of the time. I slouched a lot. My posture in that movie is appalling. It horrifies me to look at it.
On screen, Kelly McGillis and Tom Cruise embarked on a passionate romance. But when the camera stopped rolling, she fell for another recruit, Wolfman, played by actor Barry Tubb.
We were walking across the street and she actually fell down. I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. She fell down on her face in the middle of the street and she had my heart.
I'm a sucker for romance.
By the summer of 1985, Top Gun was in full flight. But the Navy worried that the relationships between Tom Cruise and his co-stars was distracting from the drama in the air.
The Navy consultants are going nuts because the love story is getting more involved, the relationships are getting more involved. Suddenly it's not about flying at all anymore.
Coming up at me and just screaming and yelling, Pettigrew, what are you doing? How can you do this? I just said to him, guys, you gotta understand, right now I'm just trying to keep him from turning into a musical.
The Navy consultants weren't the only ones getting upset. Studio executives worried that director Tony Scott had put too much spice into Kelly McGillis's vixen character, Charlie.
This is going to be complicated.
They were concerned about the way Tony and they chose to dress her, that she was looking kind of cheap.
What'd you want to do? Just drop right down on the tile and go for it?
So they took away the seam stockings and the 9-inch pumps.
In all, Scott would be fired and rehired 3 times, but the director's creative joust with Paramount was soon overshadowed by the deviant antics of producer Don Simpson.
He had a hunger for fast cars, fast women, hookers, lots of cocaine, lots of edge-of-the-seat kind of living. By this time, when he gets up to Top Gun, the cocaine use is out of control. He's been in rehab 2 or 3 times already. The hooker use is out of control, and everybody's afraid of him because his temper has gotten completely out of control.
Midway through the making of Top Gun, Simpson checked himself into rehab, but little had changed by the time he checked out.
He flies down there in a rented car, crashes the car in the parking lot as he arrives, comes into a meeting, disrupts it and says, we're not shooting that scene, and starts rewriting.
And everybody's in a panic. Everybody's firing everybody.
And Tony Scott's commitment to stunning visuals was breaking the bank. While shooting on an aircraft carrier, the director discovered the price of perfect lighting.
It was a foggy morning, Sunday morning, and it was heading out. There was only one bit of light in the sky, and just when we were about to do our scene, all of a sudden the aircraft carrier turned around, and I got my first AD to call up to the captain of the ship and say, please, can you continue on the coordinate you're just on? He said, nope.
He says, I'm on a cruise. You're a guest.
So I said, what does it cost for this aircraft carrier to run per minute? Yeah, and they gave me a cost. So they went and got my checkbook from my from my bunk. They brought it to the deck of the carrier. I pulled it up on a rope, signed a $25,000 check, sent it back down, gave it to the captain, he turned the ship around, and we got the shot.